Hi everyone. Hope all of you can hear and see my screen. Okay, so before we start, I need from all of you to confirm that my voice is clear and also you can see my screen without any delay and you can hear my voice without any issue. Okay, so please, I need your confirmation before we start that my voice is clear and also my screen. Okay, so let's start. And please, if you still can't hear my voice, just let me know. So welcome again to our live webinar from InfoSec 40C. As you all of you know, we covering attack MITRE framework from two perspective, from red teaming perspective and also from blue team perspective. And before we start, I need to display this interesting disclaimer. As you know, here we are at InfoSec 40C. We provide a cybersecurity training and we not promote for unethical hacking or cracking or using software piracy. So this content is for educational purpose only, and this training it's part of ethical hacking training. So as you know, this field you can work as an ethical hacker or a penetration tester, the one who helps a company to secure their application, like mobile application, web application, and also their infrastructure. So please do not attempt to violate the law with anything contained here. So what we are going to cover today, we have a very interesting topic. As you know, we have DLL hijacking. So DLL hijacking is really very interesting. So this meme here said one does not simply detect DLL hijacking. So that's why really hackers love to go with DLL hijacking once they hacked into a machine, for example, or they can also trick users to use the malicious DLL. I'm gonna show you and give you what is the difference between, or what is the DLL first, and how the attacker really can use DLL hijacking in order to gain unauthorized access or do any malicious activity inside our machine. So this is a very interesting technique. As I said, hackers always love to go with DLL hijacking because it's really hard to detect sometimes from the blue team members. It need a lot of skill because, as you know, these DLL run under legitimate software and also from legitimate path. That's mean it's really hard to detect. So in order to detect such a thing, you need to take this DLL and do some static analysis and dynamic analysis and so on. And yeah, that's about which Mr. Ahmed Thabit will cover in the next episode. So DLL, as you know, DLL is very important. So it's a file that contain a compiled code and resources that can be used by one or more program at the same time. They are a fundamental component of the Microsoft Windows operating system and are widely used in a software development. So all the software working inside, not all the software actually, because some software can depend on DLL, other cannot, and here depend on the programmer side. So if you want to create a software, for example, And you need to give this software in more functionality. You can make your software here go and look for a specific DLL for this specific task. So, for example, if you need to have a network connectivity, for example, so you can make your software go and point to the DLL which contain this needed function in order to operate without any issue. So DLL, it's very important component of any software. And I'm going to cover some basics functions. So we have dynamic linking, we have shared code and resources, we have modularity, file format, import and export function, dependency, loading, programming language, versioning, Windows API, and delay loading. So this is component, it's used in a software development here. So dynamic linking, as you know, it allow dynamic linking where the linking of the code to an executable happen at runtime. So this is very important because um, in contrast to static linking, where linking occur at a compile time. We have also shared code and resources here. And here DLL enable code and resources to be shared among multiple applications. And this promote code reusability. So that's why it's also very important here. We have modularity. So DLL supports modular programming by allowing developer to organize code into separate and manageable unit. So these DLL contain a set of related function or feature, as I said in the last slide. So yeah, maybe contains some useful function related to network connectivity and so on. So the file format, so the DLL, we have .dll. So if you're going to create a DLL file, beside giving it, a shared um, characteristic, you need also to end the file with .dll extension here, which means it contains compiled code in format that the operating system can load into memory when needed. We know also import and export DLL. So we have, import address table related to the DLL here in order to, uh, you know, uh, we have the list of the function which imported from other DLL or executable, for example. We have dependency, so programs using DLL depend on the presence of these DLL during runtime. We have loading, so DLL can be loaded uh, by a program and so on. We have programming language, so DLL can be written in multiple language like C, C++, or .NET, for example. We have also DLL version, Windows API, and delay loading, which allow a program to load a DLL only when a specific function is called. So this is a component of a DLL. It's very important, really, file which we can use in order to give our program more functionality. We have a system DLL and we have application DLL. So basically, the difference between system DLL and application DLL, the system DLL are essential component of the operating system, and they contain function and routines that provide core service and functionality to the entire system. So if I'm going to set kernel 32, the DLL, or user 32, for example, or GDI 32, there are examples of system DLL. So it's provide a fundamental function, related to, the memory management, graphics, and so on. The application DLL are specific to individual software applications. They contain code and resources that are used by particular programs. So the developer here who create these DLL to serve or provide a specific function to his application, for example. So maybe we have something called image processing DLL. So this is gonna handle and process the image here. Okay. So that's the difference basically between system DLL and application DLL. And in order to attack or exploit these vulnerability, we have DLL search order. So when we run an application, the application, as we know, need DLL in order to run without any issue, in order to um, you know gain more feature, okay, and execute properly without any problem, for example. So the program, once executed, it's gonna search for the DLL. Okay, so if you have a DLL for network connectivity, for example, the application here will search for this DLL in order to use, for example. And we have here a DLL order. So first, the application will start search in the directory from which the application is loaded. So if you load the application from desktop, this application will start to search this path looking for this DLL name in order to execute the DLL. So that's a very, very important function. Because if we know the DLL search order or where the software launch or deploy these DLL, for example, we can create a malicious DLL, place this malicious DLL into one of these locations, which the software will load this DLL. Also, the second directory, we have the current directory. Third, we have the system directory. Use the get system directory function to get the path of this directory. The 16-bit system directory is no functions that obtain path, and so on. So that's the order that the application is usually search in order to find the DLL in order to execute. And we have something called safe DLL search mode. And safe DLL search mode, it's a feature which you know introduced in Windows operating system in order to enhance the security of the DLL loading process in order to stop the older attacks. So instead of launching a malicious DLL from the path which the application will execute the DLL from, for example, we're using this feature in order to prevent certain type of vulnerability here, okay, associated with DLL loading. Okay, so again, in order to find this vulnerability and use this kind of vulnerability, it's not hard actually. First, we need to find the search order for DLL. Maybe we have a custom DLL searched for. We need to check an available DLL. So most of, or if there is a vulnerable application, for example, and this application try to load the DLL and failed, we're gonna have a message, okay, which we can really see inside our process monitor tool. Okay, once we know this is the vulnerable point, now we can execute our malicious DLL, but using the same name of the desired DLL here. So as you see here, this is an image from AppSec channel. Okay, he ran a process monitor, and we interesting in these two columns, the operation column and result column. Why? Because as you see, yeah, he's running an application called test.exe, and we can use this filter icon. I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds how to use the process monitor tool. And we have an application called test.exe. It's running now into our system. And we have the operation. So this is a very, very interesting part. So operation, we have create file. So create file, basically here, the application is searching for a DLL needed for this specific application. So once this application executed, it need to load this DLL called AppSec.dll. So starting first, searching for this DLL in user desktop, because he ran this application from desktop, then moving to system 32 from system, then move another directory back called system, moving to Windows, then moving to user desktop, system 32, and so on as showed here. And the most interesting part is the result. So the result here said name not found. So this application, after the execution, looking for a DLL called appsec.dll, but there is no DLL in this directory called appsec.dll. So yeah, let me ask you a question. what happen if you load a DLL called appsec.dll in this directory, for example, inside the desktop? Hmm. What's your answer? Yes, exactly. So the problem here, once this application executed and looking for appsec.dll, and voila, we have an appsec.dll, but we changed this malicious content of this legitimate one with our DLL content, for example, and now we can hook into this application, or we can execute something malicious happened here. So this is very, very important. And I've displayed this keyword here, echo path, and this is going to display all the directories that your operating system will search in order to load a DLL from. Let me share my screen and show you something very important. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I have my CMD. Okay, and here I'm going to type echo percentage pass percentage and hit enter. And as you see here, my operating system will start searching this directory for the DLL. So yeah, you can also add and change inside this directory, but that's not the case here. I want to show you something also. I have here folder called system internal suite, which you can download from microsoft.com. And we have a process monitor, procmon, and I'm going to use it. I have my operator. I'm going to remove it. And we can start this one without any, uh, actually, I'm going to load without any issue. And we have all the software running inside my device with the process ID and with the operation create. And yeah, let me move this one. And we have the path and we have the result. As I mentioned before, you can search for the application you are interested in. You can click on this funnel icon, move to this icon, go to process name is, and we can choose any process that we want to track. For example, we have a Firefox, or we can go with Windows, OneDrive, or any software that you are interested in. But I'm going to go now with Firefox. I'm just need to show you how to use this utility here. I'm going to hit add, apply, okay, and that's all the process related to my Firefox. Okay. So you can move down. We have some TCP or network connection, but yeah, it keep adding more event because I'm capture event in real time. That's why I need to use my funnel, and I can choose now, for example, operation, and let's go with create file, add, okay. And we have some file now. It's creating with my Firefox, and we can add more filter using this funnel, but this time related to result tab. And I'm looking for, as you see here, I'm looking for name not found. I'm looking for name not found. So name not found. It doesn't matter if it's capital or small, it will work fine. So we are interested in this specific result here. Okay. Once you know where this DLL and we are looking for DLL, so we need to make this one bigger, and you need to search for DLL because we're interesting in .dll as I mentioned because we are going to replace this DLL with a malicious one. Okay. So let me return back to my presentation. So here is an exploitation code. I'm going to show you where you can get a vulnerable application in order to train with. But as you see here, this is application written in C, okay, or C++. And we are interested in this message box once we called this DLL, okay? You're going to display DLL hijacking, and this is DLL message inside a mail box, for example. Okay. This is a vulnerability in a software called NullSoft Winamp, and you can search for any DLL hijacking inside a website called exploit.db. Let me show you something here. Uh, okay, this is a great website. It's called Exploit Database. It provides me with an exploitation code and also provide me with a vulnerable application which I can really install this application into a vulnerable box or a virtual lab and start the practice on this lab without harming my own host here. So I'm going to click on Has app because I'm looking for application, a vulnerable application, and also the option which I can download this application and search. I can search for DLL hijacking. And now we have a plenty of vulnerable application to DLL hijacking. So NullSoft, if you click on NullSoft Winamp, so this is the vulnerability that I'm presenting here into my slide. And really, it is not hard. All you need to do is just download the vulnerable app and execute this application into a virtual machine and using the process monitor and looking for um, a vulnerable location as I showed you. And you need to compile this DLL. So just go with GCC with the share because we using this as a DLL. Okay. And now you need to take this DLL file and replace this DLL file with the vulnerable path inside null soft winamp application. So as you see, you need to replace this WNASPI32 DLL with the WNASPI32 DLL inside your vulnerable host, for example. Okay. So that's a very, very simple way. It's also tested inside Microsoft Windows XP. So you can also go and check if it's working with another. You can also use a Windows 10 and try to go with compatibility mode. Media Player Classic. We have also DLL hijacking. So most of these software tested inside Windows 32. Yeah, it's using the same exploitation code. So my recommendation is go and practice. V mean it's verified. So they tested this vulnerability and they tested the application to check if the code working perfect without any issue. So you can easily follow this uh, this path following and using the exploitation code which provided inside exploit DB. So it's really not hard process, but as I mentioned, we try to share with you this information ethically. So yeah, you can still try on your own using a virtual lab. So that's the DLL hijacking part. As I mentioned, also Mr. Ahmed Thabit will provide you with more details about how to easily detect these kind of exploitation, how the attacker really use it, and how to use a MITRE framework to become ready when we dealing with this kind of vulnerability. So that's the last slide here. So if you have any question, you are welcome. Okay, everyone, any question? Okay, everyone. Hope all of you enjoyed this part so far, and see you in the next episode. Have a great day.